Hello, good people. I heard we have some founders and entrepreneurs in the chat. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear. I see you, Ebony. What's up, cousin? All right, Raketa, Lindsay, my girl. Mwah. Just talked to her earlier today. Shakelsia, what's up, ma? I appreciate you almost making me cry on your Instagram today. Alana, what's up, big founder? I'm excited about you doing your thing on the stage in a couple of months. Cynthia, all right, I see some ones. I'm glad you all can hear me. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we are talking about the income statement today, okay? Before we dive into that, I want to see who's in the house. Please do tell me where you are from. Please do tell me where you are from. I already know home team is in the house. We got the Met in the house. I'm from the Met in South Carolina as well. What's up, Drika? Hey, Margie. Welcome. Where are you all tuning in from today? Let me know. St. Louis, Missouri. Chicago. Okay, what's up, Aaliyah? Chi-Town in the house. The Bay, Berkeley. What's up, Berkeley, California? Drika trying to be in 2 places at once. I look forward to our podcast interview on the live soon. All right, Houston. All right, beautiful. Detroit, that's what's up. Welcome, Lika. All right, Kentucky. Y'all are all over. For those who don't know, I am actually in Nairobi, Kenya. I have lived on the continent for almost 2 years now, just because I wanted to, okay? So I've been able to grow and scale Blaze as a digital nomad, truly a digital nomad. I was in Cape Town for a year as my base. Now I am in Nairobi, Kenya. Charlotte in the house, Atlanta in the house, Peoria in the house, Peoria too. Beautiful. All right, let's dive into this, okay? We are talking about understanding financial statements. First, we are starting with the income statement. A little bit about myself. My name is Casey Ariel. I am the founder of Blaze Group LLC. Blaze means building leaders and accepting zero excuses. We cape so hard for Black women, and I am so happy to be sharing space with you today. What's more important is who you are, okay? And so I want to make sure you understand whether you are in the right room or not, okay? This is for the person who is new to entrepreneurship. Brand spanking new, never did this before. Maybe it's your second go round with entrepreneurship, okay? If this is you and you have just begun, this is the right place and space for you. This will not be too advanced for you. This will be in terms you understand and resonate with deeply, okay? This is also for the person who is not sure where to focus, okay? You may have been in business for a while, but you are chief everything officer. You are doing all of the things, and it is hard for you to figure out how to allocate the 24 hours in your day for rest, balance, being with your loved ones, right? And building your business. I promise you, if you give me this hour, okay, I'll give you some clarity today. This is for the person with little to no finance experience, right? Maybe you know your product very, very well. You know how to make the candles very, very well. You know how to do things that are green, right? And friendly to the environment very, very well. You know how to make a bad t-shirt very, very, very well. But finance, ooh, some of you might even get anxiety around it. Some of you might get nervous around it. Some of you remember the first of the month when it was tight in the household. Right? You have a natural aversion to the word finance and money, right? If this is you, I promise you, you are in a safe space. I will edify you. I will edify you some more, and I'll edify you again, okay? Healing has to be part of this journey. This is also for the person who is feeling very, very anxious about stability. You can barely sleep at night. Your mind is always racing about what if. And will I make ends meet this month? Will I make ends meet next month? What is going to happen? Stability, right? If this is you, you are in the right space. Let me hold your hand, and I promise you we're going somewhere. We're going to get from point A to point B. And just in case I wasn't in your house yet, okay? Maybe you're feeling confident. Maybe you finally figured this thing out. You understand your target audience. You understand your pricing very, very well. You understand, right, how to grow your business. But you need to be more strategic about it, because actually you just been blessed to be here. God has been good and you are here. Things worked in your favor and you are here. But you actually want to speak a thing that is very, very specific, right? And move a whole lot of ships, a whole lot of people, a whole lot of tools, right? In very strategic directions so that you actually go from 6 figures to 1 million and then from 1 million to 10 million. Strategy does not happen accidentally. And so if you need that, you are in the right place. Drop some ones in the chat if I have been in your house with any of these descriptions, okay? Because I want to make sure that I edify you, okay? Drop a 1 in the chat if I've been in your house with any of these descriptions. I'm looking, I'm searching. Cynthia. Okay, Katrina dropped all the ones. Aaliyah dropped all the ones. All right, Breeze, what's up? These are all me. Lindsay, look. All right. We rocking and rolling. Okay, so we got an hour, and I promise you, I will build you in this hour. Just rock with me. Really quickly, okay? A little bit about my background. I went to the University of South Carolina. I am from South Carolina. You might hear my twang when I speak. I'm a proud Gamecock, okay? And college was a place where I had to figure out, like everybody else, who I wanted to be in the world, right? The difference I was gonna make, right? I had to declare that thing for the first time in college, right? And it was the first time in my life, right, at 18, 19, 20, 21, where I had to grow comfortable with the sound of my own voice. Miles Davis, the famous Miles Davis, said, it takes a long time to learn how to sound like yourself. So while I was growing comfortable in college, I still wasn't there, okay? When I graduated and I went to corporate America and everybody was white but me, I still wasn't there. But it was the beginning of something for me. I planned, y'all. I executed. I was the valedictorian of this and first in class for that. And then my plans crumbled, okay? I moved to the big old city of Charlotte. It's the big city when you're coming from South Carolina. And I got married to the love of my life. But one day, he hit me. He hurt me. He threatened my life. My life was in danger. And it was the first time in my life that I decided to 86 the plans and bet on me. It wasn't about him anymore. It wasn't about the house. It wasn't about the friends around me. It wasn't about my job and all the things that I could do and had to get done. It was the first time that I made a huge bet on myself, right? The first time that I had to let go of so many things, right, that were not for me and embrace what was. So I moved to Oakland, California, 2,700 miles away, no plans, right? I killed that shit, y'all. and then 5 years later, I was like, oh, bet, the pandemic going on. What life do I want for myself? And I love corporate, and I moved to Africa, okay? 2021. So that's a little bit about my background, okay? Now, life is good. As you can see, I'm happy, right? I love Neo Soul, Jill Scott all day, D'Angelo, India Ivory. These will never go dead to me. Erykah Badu. I love chocolate. Actually, my baby was getting me like a Snicker a day for a while and a kind of balloon. So he's like, no more Snicker. He's a Tanzanian man. And I'm a finance geek. So I spent 10 plus years structuring multi-billion-dollar loans with a B for large tech corporations around the world. That's what I did every single day, right? And when I bounced, I was like, nah, like ain't no black women in here doing this. That means we don't know this game. That's why I'm here to teach you this today, right? And when I was giving out the loans, I was like, ain't no black people getting this money. Oh, I got to give it to them. So on the continent of Africa, Alana, I am in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm in the country of Kenya right now. I've lived in South Africa for a year as well. I actually developed a financial solution for poor farmers on the continent because banks don't lend to agriculture, and most of them are farmers. And this year alone, the product that I developed has been deployed to 3 countries in a total of $5 million, and 40% of them are women. That is unheard of on the continent. It has not happened before, right? So this is who I am, right? This is what I bring, and that's why I'm so confident that in this hour, right, we're going to shake up some things. Just rock with me. Most importantly, I came hard, really, really hard for Black women. Big Mama was everything. She was my hero, right? But there is a mantle that I have to push farther because Big Mama died tired and alone, still not knowing how to ask for what she needs, right? And so my mission is to go even farther than Big Mama did for us, right? And you and love upon you, right? But actually teach you how to put yourself first, right? And edify yourself and live the life of your dreams, all right? I've worked with some companies. I've spoken on some stages. I've done some super dope things. You might recognize some of these logos, but here we are together. So what you will learn in this webinar today, okay? Today you're gonna learn the keys to company survival. Starting a business has never been a problem for Black women. As a matter of fact, 17% of all Black women today are starting new businesses or already running new businesses, 17% of us, okay? But sustaining it is, we don't survive. Our businesses do not survive, okay? So I'm gonna teach you the key elements that you must know to keep a healthy company, right? Your company in financial health so that you in here for the long haul. Second thing you'll learn, I'm gonna teach you how to tell your story, not Casey's, but yours, okay? Some people are moved by words, but other people are moved by numbers. Bankers are moved by numbers. Investors are moved by numbers. People in your family who are going to invest in you, and they will, are moved by numbers. So I'm going to teach you how to tell that story, okay? And then number 3, I will teach you how to be strategic, if that's all right with y'all, okay? A lot of you are working in your business. You look at yourself as an employee of your company, as the main employee of your company. And I am trying, because Blaze is building leaders and accepting zero excuses, I am going to teach you how to come out of the minutia and work on your business. Big founder energy. Somebody write in the chat, big founder energy. Big founder energy. I will teach you how to set strategies for your company. I will teach you how to steer the ship. I will teach you how to come out of the minutia and actually do things that are generating revenue, right? Somebody else can do the operational stuff, okay? I don't see it yet. Big founder energy. Where we at? All right, Breeze. I appreciate you. All right, Aaliyah. Okay. So let's get into it. We have 47 minutes. The income statement. Question for you all. Is revenue the same as profitability? Is revenue the same as profitability? Answer it in the poll. All right, I see some coming in. Is revenue the same as profitability? See some more coming in. Beautiful. Is revenue the same as profitability? The tide is changing. Okay, we have, we have 8% saying yes. 7% saying yes. 92% saying no. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Revenue is not the same as profitability. And it's important that you understand this in your bones. A lot of people are teaching you in the streets, right, to focus on revenue, focus on the 6-figure years, focus on getting that top line right. And nobody's talking about profitability. That's dangerous. Y'all gonna understand what a lot of people don't know, okay? Because the income statement shows 3 things. It shows a company's revenues, expenses, and profitability. Write that down. The income statement shows 3 things. You need to understand that the income statement shows 3 things, and y'all need to understand income statements, and we will today, for your own company. It shows revenues, expenses, and profitability. So let's look at it as an example. So this on the left is an income statement. The top line is the revenue. These are your sales. This is what the street is talking about, right? The number of sales you're making, people buying from you at a certain price point, and you add it all together, and that is your revenue for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. That ain't profitability though. Okay. Expenses. You be floating around here. You don't know what's coming out your debit account, child. You just know when it hits 0 because Bank of America is reaching out. No. Your expenses, and we're going to talk about why, your expenses need to be understood by you. You need to know what that number is, okay? And you need to understand how it's important to your profitability, because the third thing that the income statement always shows is your net income, and ain't nobody talking about that. Profitability, it does not mean anything if you making 6 figures per year, if your expenses are exceeding your income, your revenue, and you're left at negative every single week, every single month, every single year. That is why you don't survive. Not because your revenue line is bad, right? Because your profitability doesn't exist. Some of you might have heard profit and loss before, the profit and loss statement before. The P&L is exactly the same as the income statement, okay? The profit and loss statement is exactly the same as the income statement. And guess what? You've seen it already. You've seen it before. If you have done your Schedule C for the IRS, you have filled out a profit or loss. You probably didn't realize at the top of that statement said profit or loss. This is exactly what the form looks like. And this is exactly what all businesses, right? If you're a sole proprietor, this is your form, right? If you're S Corp, there's another form. But if you're a sole proprietor, even if you don't have an LLC, right? You do a Schedule C for your business taxes. If you are a single member LLC, you do a Schedule C for your business taxes, okay? That same thing that you're giving the IRS is your income statement. And some of y'all don't know it for yourself. Woo, that's dangerous. I can prove it to you. Part 1, this is the IRS form. It says income. That is your revenue. Part 2 of the same form from the IRS that you are sending to them says expenses. Those are your expenses. You see, it says advertising, car and truck expenses, commission and fee, right? And then this line down here, line 31, is your net profit. That's your net income. Your net profit or your loss is your net income, right? We are letting the IRS understand more about our businesses than we do. And we got to be at big founder energy. I'm going to convince you, I promise you, of why it's important in this talk. But just know that when you pay taxes, this is why your profitability is important. When you pay taxes, the taxes are based off of the net profit line, not your revenues. I promise. I promise. When you pay taxes to the IRS, they take this form. This is the form they use, and they look at your net profit because that's your income, right? That is equivalent to somebody who's working a 9-to-5. Their income, right, is equivalent to your net profit on that sheet. It's not your revenue line. Know that, right? When the pandemic hit, and around the same time I left corporate, right, and I talked to a whole lot of Black people and help them get their PPP loans and their PPP forgiveness. Because people were literally walking around here. I mean, people said it to me. Black people don't even have their income statement together. They don't get their profit or loss, so they can't get this money. What you mean? Anybody that filed a Schedule C has their income statement, their profit and loss. And I helped a whole lot of people get money because I was telling them what the banks and the streets weren't telling them. Okay? So just know that you are not behind. If you touch this form, you already have your income statement. But I need you to pull it inside of your own company. How? Use QuickBooks if you don't already. If you do use QuickBooks, there is a tab that's called Reports, y'all. You can get QuickBooks for the price of a Starbucks coffee and a muffin. One time, and you have it every month. Okay? Get QuickBooks, write that down. Get QuickBooks, write that down. If you don't yet have contractors you're paying all of that, just get QuickBooks Self-Employed. It will give you this thing that says Reports, and you will have for your company your own income statement. It's that easy. If you are a little bigger and you have some contractors, you're doing a little some complex things, right? Pay an extra $5 and get QuickBooks online. But get QuickBooks and it will generate your profit and loss statement. And if you can get this for $10 per month plus other stuff, right? There's other stuff. Instead of paying somebody to be in your business, right? Working 40 hours per month, why not? Okay. Next thing I want you to remember and understand, Latika Gibbs says, will there be a replay as well? Absolutely, mama. Absolutely. Revenue minus expenses equal net income. What you make per year, which is what the streets are always talking about, minus your expenses equal net income. It is not your revenue that's keeping you from surviving and taking your company over. It is your lack of net income, your lack of profitability. Because net income is the same as profit. And you need to understand whether you are profitable right now. You need to understand, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're a freelancer. You need to understand whether you are profitable right now. And if you don't have a handle around your expenses, right, we got to get there. Because company survival, please say this aloud to yourself. Company survival is dependent on profitability. The streets are not talking about this. Say it aloud to yourself, please. Company survival is dependent on profitability. Starting the business is not the problem. Every single day, all women-owned businesses that are started in the United States 42% of them are started by Black women. I'll say it again. Every single day in the United States, of all the women-owned businesses that are started in the United States, 42% are started by Black women, period. That's facts. Starting the business is not the problem. Surviving in the business is, and profitability is how you get there. All right, now let's go deeper. If you have questions, put it in the Q&A, okay? If you have questions, put it in the Q&A. I got you. This is live. I see you. Okay. Okay. Revenue is the result of sales made. Now, y'all got this. Y'all understand this. You know this. It's pretty simple, right? Something we don't talk enough about is cost of sales. That's the line right under revenue. Cost of sales is what you spent to make those sales in the first place. Cost of sales is what you spent to make those sales in the first place. Why is that important, Casey? Because a lot of people are walking around here thinking that revenue pays the bills. No, it doesn't. Why? Because you have to understand what you had to spend, right? What you have to spend before you pay the bills. Are you making candles? How much is the wax costing? How much is the wick? How much is the container? How much is the lid? How much is the packaging? How much is the stuff you put around it? How much is the tape? How much was the shipping if you're paying for it yourself? Drika said, I'm in her house, I'm speaking her language, right? Why is that important, Casey? Because I don't want you to think that because you sold candles that got you $300 that month, you got $300 to pay your bills. Because if $200 of that $300 is gone before you even pay your rent, before you even pay your contractors, before you even pay for your subscription on QuickBooks, you won't survive. It is that serious. You won't survive. Somebody's selling t-shirts. If you think that because you sold $1,000 worth of t-shirts, you got $1,000 to pay your bills, we ain't got to the bills yet on the income statement. If $800 of that cost was the bare shirts you bought to sell, you only have $200 in gross profit that pays the bills. So what does this mean? We have to understand our cost of sales so that we can get our pricing right. It ain't the end of the world. It's me. Oh, hold on. Let me see what my cost of sales are per candle. Let me see what my cost of sales are per t-shirt. Let me see what my cost of sales are per bath salt kit. And then you set that price right, so you got enough going to pay the bills. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat if this makes sense, if this is helpful. Because the streets they're not talking about this. I get it though. Because when I was structuring these big multi-billion loans, it was just me in there. Right? They didn't let us inside. Right? So I got to bring this knowledge to the streets. All right, beautiful. Breeze is with me. Cynthia's with me. Okay, beautiful. Katrina gave all the ones. Perfect. All right, Kelsey. All right, Ebony. Beautiful. All right. So revenue is the result of sales made. We get this. The streets talking about this. We talking about, I had a 6-figure year, right? And you behind closed doors, you're like, why the hell is my account negative? Because they didn't talk to you. They didn't talk to you about cost of sales. Okay, cool. All right. So we have that. Now, gross profit, that's what pays the bills. Somebody write that down, okay? Gross profit is what pays the bills, not your revenue. And it's okay. This is true for every company. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you in this time, okay? But gross profit is what pays the bills. So I need y'all to and still have your revenue target, still do your Instagrammable moments, child. I ain't mad. I'm going to be ruining you on, okay? But I need you to make sure behind closed doors, your gross profit line is straight, because that's what pays the bills. Why, Casey? Why does gross profit pay the bills? Because after you see your gross profit, then you pay your bills. It has nothing to do with your sales. Think about your operating expenses as your bills. And those are the things you are paying whether you make a sale or not. You renting a co-working space? Oh, you got to pay that whether you made a sale or not, honey. You marketing for something? You paying for ads? You got to pay that whether you made a sale or not. I think I'm in somebody's house. Okay. Office supplies, you have to pay. Okay, y'all know where I'm going. Payroll. Your contractors need to be paid. Your employees need to be paid. The virtual assistant, you have to pay that whether you make sales or not. That is the difference between the cost of sales and the operating expenses. But we need to know that the gross profit is what that bill money has to come from. And if the gross profit is lower than the bill money, that is why the account is negative, right? Because it never had anything to do with the revenue by itself. Okay. Casey, what are examples of my operating expenses? I need to write it down. Okay, I wrote a list down for you. And actually, I took this example from QuickBooks just to show you, just to prove to you that for a cup of coffee and a muffin, you can have the same view for your company. And you should. Okay? Because we have to be strategic. Success is not accidental. It is strategic. Okay? So this is an example of operational expense lines from a company using QuickBooks. A real example. Okay? And you see that they have their expenses here. What's in there? Marketing expense. Software subscriptions, QuickBooks, Zoom, Calendly, if you're paying for that, Canva, if you're paying for that, right? Travel expense. Some of you might need to travel, mileage, fuel, whatever, to do your day-to-day job. That is part of your business expense. That's not your personal, this the business, right? Computers and equipment, payroll, office lease, office supplies, professional services. What are professional services, Casey? Professional services are what you do when you pay your business coach, right? When you pay your accountant, right? XYZ, legal expense. And what I'm telling you is, we're talking Big Fountain Energy. I need you to know what your expenses are. Write it down if you have not already. Get QuickBooks and you don't have to write it down, right? It'll literally take your transactions and you can mark them. Ooh, oh, that's my marketing. Ooh, that's my office supplies. Ooh, and you're going to feel good about that thing, right? Because you're going to be able to see your reports and tell a story, right? Say this to yourself, please. Entrepreneurs must know the monthly cost of running the business. Entrepreneurs must know the monthly cost of running the business. I'm going to say it a third time. Entrepreneurs must know the monthly cost of running the business. You must. And if you are a founder today and you cannot tell me right now what your total operational expenses are for your company, you got some homework to do. You must know the monthly cost of running a business. That's going to help you be strategic. How much cash do I need sitting here? I'm talking to my daddy about some money I need. How much money do I need? If I want to say I need him to bridge me for 3 months so that I can just got time to just create and be out there and shaking hands. What is 3 months, right? Entrepreneurs must know the monthly cost of running the business. I need a loan from somebody. How much do I need? Ooh, I'm going to just make up a number. No, cuz. Entrepreneurs must know the monthly cost of running the business. All right, I'm going to get out of that vein, but feel that here. Reminder, revenues minus expenses equal net income. And net income is your profitability. And I told you earlier that your survival is dependent on your profitability, not your revenue. I'm going to prove it to you. I promise you. I still got 30 minutes. Okay? Revenues minus expenses equal net income, and your net income is your profitability. Every company. It does not matter what you do. And profitability is a measure of your company's financial health. That is why it matters. That is why it matters. Before I go on, because we're about to get into some important things, answer some questions from the chat. Thank y'all for submitting questions. I love this engagement. Cynthia Davis asked, will the slides be shared? You will be able to see it in the replay. I won't email the slides, but you will see it in the replay, okay? Question from Aaliyah, meaning like how much the merch website, etc. costs, right? Yes, sis, exactly. So think about it like this. So the website, depending on what you do, right? Depending on what you do, your website might actually be in your operational expenses, meaning no matter what you do, it's the same amount. But let's say you're listed on Amazon. Right? If you make a sale on Amazon and Amazon takes 15%, yep, that's part of your cost of sales. You, without paying that money, you would not have made that sale. That's how you think about it, right? Now, if you just got a regular website for your brand, child, you can make this, like it's not tied to the sale. But if you are on a marketplace like Etsy charges 20 cents per listing, okay? And then they take a margin based on what you sell. Those are costs of sales. You need to know that. Stripe charges Casey, right? 2% for every dollar I make. So 2%, right, of whatever I make goes to Stripe. That's a part of my cost of sales. PayPal charges Casey 3%. 3% of what I make that goes through PayPal, that's the cost of sale. It's not a recurring expense every month. It's only when I make sales. Great question. Okay, I think those are all the questions. All right, beautiful. Keep them coming. Appreciate y'all. All right. So profitability is a measure of your company's health because we're trying to survive. We are literally trying to survive. First thing you need to understand is gross profit margin. Write that down, which is literally the percentage of your revenue that is eaten up by cost of goods sold. Actually, I'm gonna say it differently. Okay, correction. Okay, I'm gonna say that differently. It's what's left after your cost of sale eat up your revenue. Think about it like that. Okay, your gross profit margin, say it differently than what's on here. It is what is left after cost of sales has eaten up your revenue. Okay, so I'll give an example. The t-shirt person, if they are charging $10 and they paid $7, right? Their gross profit is $3 and their gross profit margin is 30%. That means they only got 30% of everything they make to pay the bills. That means they only have 30% of everything they make to pay the bills. Okay, somebody like me, service providers. Hey, y'all. Hey, we get on Zoom, honey, and that's it. Okay, we're not paying for anything. Okay, we have a consultation call. We say, hey, can you please get my $250? And we move on. Right? So our gross profit margin, I mean, this is going to maybe shock some people, is like 97%. Because we're only paying the 3% to Stripe or PayPal. We literally have no cost of sales. Zoom, we pay the same $40 no matter what we make. It is not, Zoom doesn't charge us extra. They don't know what we're doing. Right? I hope this is resonating. You need to know your gross profit margin. I'm going to say it differently than it's on this slide. It is the percentage of your revenue that is left after cost of sales has eaten some of it up. Okay, I'll show you an example. Margie asked, what version of QuickBooks is $10 a month? The self-employed. I had the online, but it was $89 per month. Margie, you might be having a version of QuickBooks that you don't need. And it should definitely, the QuickBooks online ain't $89. You might have added just like payroll. If you're using it to pay people, they charge extra. If you're using it to transact with your contractors, do W-4s, W-9s, etc., they pay it's extra, but you should be able to get it for $30. I mean, $30. Okay. But QuickBooks Self-Employed, which the starting entrepreneur should use, is just $10. If it's your first time, they'll give you a big sale, right? The worst it'll be is probably $20 if you don't get a sale. All right. Number 2. I got to say all of these differently. Y'all excuse me. It is the percentage. Oh, no, this one is right. The percentage of your revenue that is eaten up by operating expenses. This is exactly how it says. Your operating expense margin is the percentage of your revenue that is eaten up by operating expenses. Okay, this is important. Why? Because you need to understand whether your operating expense is 50% of your revenue. If your operating expenses is 50% of what you're making today, it is better that you know that than not know that. Why? So that you can make strategic plans, right? You might say, oh, I'm spending half of everything I make on expenses alone. I need to do some things. Maybe instead of hiring a person, I need to hire a tool because the tool is $5 no matter how much money I make. And I can automate that thing with Zapier. And I can automate that thing with ClickUp. And I can automate that thing with the software called If This Then That. And I can automate that thing with Dubsado. And I can automate that thing with Honeybook. Y'all following me? Right? It might tell you that your revenue is just too low and you need to charge more. It might tell you got to figure out how to sell more. You need to partner with people and collaborate, right? And give them commissions, right? To sell your stuff. So you have 20 sales people instead of 1, right? Understand what your operating expense margin is. Third thing on financial health, okay? Your net income. Your net income margin is the percentage of your revenue that actually makes it to your bottom line. Uh-oh. If you are running a business today and you don't know what your net interest margin is, which is the percentage of your revenue that actually makes it to the bottom line, uh-oh. And it's okay. Now you know. You have to know. You have to know. Katrina said, knowing the right resources is the key to saving time and money. Absolutely. And it's a journey. Don't feel bad if you don't know all the things today. Listen, this is why I'm trying to keep you alive. I ain't never said it. I ain't say I'm going to teach you how to make 6 figures in 6 months. For what? Why? Because when you get this right and you know it in your bones, you will be here for generations to come, the way that Nike will be, right? The way that Amazon will be. What's the rush to that? Generational wealth where your kids, your children's children have assets that are passed down, right? So over time, we just got to keep you in the game. That's why Blaze does so much stuff, right? So that at whatever point in the journey, bam, we got you over here, cuz come in the room, right? So don't feel bad if you don't know all the things. Take your time. Swahili, a Swahili word people say to me all the time over here is pole pole. That means slowly, right? Pole pole. Okay. All right. So know what that net income margin is. It might be 10%. Fine. Just know it, right? It might be negative. You might be at negative 30%. It's better you know that than not, so you can develop some strategy. Aaliyah says percentage of revenue eaten up by bills. Exactly right. That's what the operating expense margin is. Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. How much, what percent of your revenue is eaten up by bills? Just know it, right? Because when you talk to a banker and you say, yeah, my operating expense margin is pretty healthy, it's at 30%, and they're going to say, they're going to fall in love with you, right? Because you understand, right? You can say my gross profit margin is 70%. Yeah, only 30% of my, revenue goes to cost of sale. Ooh, they're going to, I promise you, they'll love that, right? Some people speak in numbers. Now, factors to consider. Now, this is more strategic, okay? Stay with me, okay? Stay with me. To consider seasonality. Some of your businesses have certain times of the year that your sales are always going to be higher than others, like all the time, right? Like some of you have businesses like that. For some of you, it's Christmas time. Know that. Just know that so that you're not nervous, right, in the down peak times. If you're selling toys, right, chances are that your peak season will be Christmas time, and it is what it is. And it's just as true for any of your other competitors. And then along the way, it's more people's birthdays, right? Graduation gifts, kindergarten graduations, things like that. That is fine, right? But we just need to know what times of the year our company's in certain spots so that you do what you need to do to bridge yourself to that, right? So you do what you need to do to have cash savings, right? To just keep you steady in the other times, because you're going to make it back in the wintertime and you know how much you need to save. If you know your monthly operating expense in the Christmas time, you can save 6 months worth of operating expense and still enjoy your life and relax and have balance, right? And just be kicking it, right? Some of you, it's back to school time, right? Some of you know, based on what I sell, back to school time, child, this is when, right? My sales are the highest. It might be a realtor, right? Who has certain markets where people want to move, right? And change school systems. They don't want to move in the middle of the year, in the middle of the school year. They do it in the summertime, right? Before back to school time. And they get, right? If the realtor knows that, right? They can plan accordingly. They might say, why would I waste money spending on ads during this time when I know I need to really pump it right in May and June? You can be strategic, right? It's fine. That means you just have lower expenses in the downtimes. Why not? Right? Some of you, it might be New Year's resolution times. Where my coach is at, right? Listen, somebody says a New Year's resolution and people are ready to spend that money on getting the business together, right? You trying to sell stuff in June and you hear crickets. People are tired. They have quit several programs. They're not trying to, right? You just know that, right? Just know that. Winter freeze time. Some of y'all are going to sell coats, right? And you just know that during the summer times, you're not going to make as much money, right? But you plan accordingly for that. That could be the time where you're doing other things. Maybe you need to step into other product types in your off-peak seasons, right? Be strategic around that. It is okay to have seasonality in your business. Low margin versus high margin. Let's talk about this. When I say low margin, I mean that your products leave you with a low gross profit margin, meaning your costs for that product are so high that you have a low gross margin product. Some of you have high gross margin product. People who do services, you have a high gross margin product. So a question you should ask yourself, are all of your products yielding low gross profit margins because the costs are so high? If is 100% of what you sell a low margin product, what do you want to do about that? Are you okay with that? Do you want to mix it up? Do you need to add in some high margin products to push more cash to your bottom line? Are you going? If you go home and you say, and you do this and you say, oh, my cost of goods sold is actually really high. I'm not making a lot of money. What else can I do? Maybe you want to start doing some, I don't know, some sip and candle making classes, right? Where they pay a lot of money and you make more money because, whatever, right? Think through that. Do you need to buy in bulk to reduce your cost of goods sold? Are you only buying what people order, right? Meaning as an order come in, that's when you're buying your crystals and your sage to be mailed out, right? Do you need to instead just buy in bulk so that you're paying 30% on the cost of goods? So what you used to pay 100% on, and all of a sudden, right, your gross profit margin is higher. When you have an income statement, baby, you can see this stuff very clearly, and all of a sudden, you as a founder, because we're on big founder energy, you start making strategic decisions for your business. Does your pricing need to change, right? If you have a low margin product and you are selling something for $10 and you see once you go home and do this that it costs you $8 to even sell the thing, maybe you might say my prices need to change. Maybe my price is just too low. Maybe I need to change it to $15, right? So that makes $7 because my cost of goods sold is only $8, right? All this is within your control. That's why it's important for the founder to understand, right? The income statement. Another factor to consider, predictability of revenue. Predictability of revenue. Is your revenue predictable enough? Or are you making it from sale to sale, child? You don't know what's coming. You don't know where it's coming from. Consider that, right? Because there could be things you can do, right, to make recurring revenue. I'm telling y'all, companies today are scrambling to try to figure out how to make recurring revenue. What is a recurring revenue, Casey? Recurring revenue is what happens when you pay QuickBooks the same amount of money per month. They know it's coming. It's predictable, right? All they got to do is have that one person come in the door, and they know every month they have that coming in. Subscription boxes where people are sending, I don't know, clothes to your house, wine bottles to your house. That's why that started happening. Because companies started scrambling to figure out, how do I make recurring revenue so it's predictable? I know it's coming. I know how many people I can hire because I know how much recurring revenue I have. Product-based businesses can do this too. It doesn't have to be everything, right? But maybe you might want to add more predictability. Maybe you already have predictability. Maybe some of you are only taking on 12-month contracts. So you know, beautiful, okay, fine, right? But just some factors to consider. Alexis Davis, what's up, Alexis? She says, that's where I am right now, honestly, learning how to make recurring revenue. It's it's a game changer. Because I have a recurring revenue stream in Blaze, right? It was very, very intentional. The way we did some of our things, I can hire with certainty, right? Because I want to give some stability to the people that I hire, right? I'm moving now from project-based type stuff to really supporting people's livelihoods, right? And recurring revenue helps me to do that, as well as long-term contracts, right? So my long-term consulting contracts, when it's a year, I got visibility into the future. That gives you peace of mind and ease. Jennifer, exactly. Jennifer says, such as memberships. Exactly right. Come on, big founder energy. Come on, big Jen. Such as memberships, right? If you start a membership and people pay you the same amount of money every single month, that is predictable revenue. You can still be out here selling slinging them boxes, right? Or slinging them cakes, whatever you do, right? But you can be thoughtful around having predictable revenue because you know what's going to be recurring? Those bills, huh? Those operating expenses. That operating expense margin is going to stay 35%, right? Beautiful. Y'all with me? Love it. All right. So let's look at a real company. Okay. A real company is Apple. Okay. A real company is Apple. And this is their income statement, literally their income statement. I promise you. Okay. I didn't doctor this up from June 25, 2022. Okay. So that was just a couple of months ago. Right. All right. So their net sales, which is, y'all know this already, is your revenue. Okay, yeah, the top line income, okay, is $82 billion. This means that in the 3 months, right, in the 3 months of Q2, right, so that would be April, May, and June, they made $82 billion. But y'all know this. Y'all got this. Y'all comfortable with this statement, with this income statement now. Now, their cost of sales, see, I told y'all, I'm telling you what the big boys do. You see, they're talking about cost of sales, the streets, but y'all going to be talking about it. Y'all are going to understand the importance of it, right? Their cost of sales is it's at 47, excuse that typo, $47 billion. Okay? So their total sales is 82, and their cost of sales is $47 billion. Y'all following me? And that means, y'all already know, that for everything they sold, it actually cost them, right, $47 billion. But people don't talk about that, right? And then their gross profit margin is 42%. What does that mean, Casey? That means that before they paid the bills, only 42% of their revenue was left to cover their expenses. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that. This is Apple. So this doesn't leave you once you become big and you have stock. It's always important. And I promise you, y'all are going to be light years ahead of where you would have otherwise been had you not been thinking about this stuff. Even Apple, who makes $82 billion in 3 months, has cost of sales as high as $47 billion. That's just out of the door just because they made those sales. And they only have 42% left to pay their bills. Period. Period, Pooh. Okay? And we talked about operating expense margin. Let's look at that. Their total operating expenses are $12.8 billion. Yeah, Katrina. Katrina said numbers make it real for me. Ashe, this is real. This is literally Apple's statement. And we might have thought, and let me tell you how deep this is. Somebody could be walking around, Apple made $82 billion. Apple made, but y'all will know. Oh, okay, yeah. And about 60% of that is spent in their cost of goods sold, and their cost of sales. Y'all gonna know that, right? So you know that only about 40% of what they make go down to pay the bills. And then only after they pay the bills do they have net income. It's that deep. And y'all gotta move with that same energy, right? So we know that only 42% is available to pay their bills, right? 35 billion is 42% of 82 billion, right? And then their operating expense margin is 15%. What does that mean, Casey? That means that of all the money they make, 12% of their revenue go to operating expenses. That's all that means. 12% of their revenue goes to their operating expenses. And y'all need to understand the same thing for your companies, right? And that's before profitability. Are y'all catching that? All of this is before profitability. So Apple has to figure out a way to be profitable so that it survives, right? I want y'all to look at one more thing here, okay? One more thing here. Because I posed to y'all a strategy. I just need to make it real, that you need to think about whether your products are low margin or high margin and whether you want to mix it up, right? Just to have more money go down to your bottom line. So let's look at Apple. This is literally their income statement. So they sell products. Somebody write in the chat for me what their products are. What are Apple's products? What are Apple's products? Somebody write in the chat for me. I have one of them on right now. What are Apple's products? iPhones, beautiful. Thank you, Aaliyah. Perfect. The iPhone sales are right up in here. Phones, yup, Lika. MacBooks, yeah. AirPods, yeah. MacBooks, yeah. Shell, phones, yes. Okay. Products are these physical things. Guess what? Guess what Apple is showing us? They made $63 billion in product revenue. But guess how much it cost them? $41 billion to sell the watch, to sell the MacBook, to sell the earbuds, right? The AirPods. It cost them $41 billion. Only $22 billion goes to paying the bills. Because 63 minus 41 is 22 billion. So that means that their gross profit margin was 35% of everything they make selling these iPhones. They're telling us this watch. When they sell me this watch, only 35% of it actually goes to pay their bills because it cost them 65% of what they sold it to me for, right? So it's not bad to have low margin products. Some of you have to have low margin products, right? The key is just understanding what's normal, right? If you're selling merchandise, right, you're gonna have those are low margin products, right? I'm gonna say it again. If you're selling merchandise, those are low margin products, right? But what does Apple do? Apple also sells services, which are high margin. So let's look at that breakdown. Apple told us that from services they made $19 billion, right? Excuse this thing, so it just says service revenue. Apple told us they made $19 billion in service revenue, right? And then they told us they paid $5 billion in service revenue, right? So 14 billion goes to paying the bills. They have a gross profit margin of 71% for their services. Y'all see that? We know them for these. That's what we know them for. But Apple said, listen, we got to squeeze out what's at the bottom line now. Let's get these services. Let's get these technicians out there, right? Let's get these cloud computing services, right? Let's start charging people for data. Let's start taking 99 cents for extra gigabyte of data. Those are services. They were smart because it doesn't cost them hardly anything. Right? So by mixing the two, right? I'm gonna go back. By mixing the two, right? They get 22 billion from selling products. That's only, right, a third of what they made, but they get 14 billion, right, from the services, right? 71% of what they made, right? So this is literally a real example so that you can think through for your own company how you might mix service and product. You don't have to, right? You don't have to. I'm just putting a bug in your ear to say, if you want to help yourself be profitable, think about how you can mix in some high margin products, right? Some things you don't have to pay so much for so that more cash goes to your bottom line. Alana says, is the bulk of that advertising? Great question. Can anybody in the chat answer that? Is the bulk of that advertising? Is advertising the cost of making this watch? Or is advertising a bill that they got to pay regardless of whether they make the sale or not? Somebody tell me in the chat. Is advertising what they spend to make this? Or is it just a bill that shows up in their operating expenses? Yep, beautiful. Y'all, look, big founder energy. Katrina said bill. Cynthia said bill. Aaliyah said bill. Exactly right. The marketing is an operating expense. Whether they make the sale or not, the marketing price is what it is. Alana said a necessary expense. Exactly right. It is a necessary expense because how do people know to buy if they don't know what you offer? Love it. Y'all making me proud now. All right, I got 7 minutes left. So I'm going to answer any questions. As y'all bringing in questions, I want to tell you really quickly about the Blaze Business Intensive. Some of you have heard of it. Some of you may have not, but just know it is a 6-week course that is the MBA for Black women, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean that. And I listen, I know business. Okay. But I know how to teach it in terms that we understand. So this course is much about helping you find yourself in your business as it is about helping you manage your business. What is included? There are 6 modules. Self-discovery and entrepreneurship, which is so important that you are actually selling the things that resonate with you, that fulfill your life, right? That are associated with your calling. Bump a sexy title. Bump that. Bump what mama wants us to do. She'll be okay. She'll get it. She'll get it on the back end. Everybody cheering, right? When we get in the Grammy and we get in the Webby, right? It teaches you about how to build your business plan. You actually build it, right? Budgeting, projections, strategy, and automation, and networking, strategic networking. Okay. Those are the 6 modules included in this. Definitely fill the chat up with questions. Let's talk through it, right? Let me see what questions we have thus far. Oh, I don't see any new questions. Y'all ask me any questions if you have them, okay? Bree said, we know you know business. Yeah. Janisha said, this takes the saying, it takes money to make money to another level. The visual is everything. Ashe. Self-discovery. So in the self-discovery module, you'll discover your purpose, your power, and your principles on the path of profitability. Again, I am not, never have been a person that says, I'm going to teach you how to make X amount of money in 6 months. I teach people, I'm telling you, there's no cap. Like I literally teach you how to be so cold in the game, bruh. So cold in the game that the world will know your name. That you are building things that run on autopilot that allow you to live anywhere in the world. I have for the last 2 years. Right? And still scale. I have not been in the States more than 2 weeks in the last 20 months. And when I got there, I thought I was gonna stay a month and I was like, yeah, I can't do it. I gotta go. Right? So you really learn, right, how to connect with a deep vision and still be profitable, very profitable, actually. You'll build your business plan, a very sophisticated business plan, inclusive of all the things you really need, not what the streets are talking about, okay? The things you really, really need. Budgeting is in there, right? So you saw how enjoyable, right? You saw how enjoyable finance can feel today as we talk through this, right? Budgeting is the same way. Again, I am sensitive to the fact that we are healing from some things. We have been hurt, right? Mama and daddy were tight around certain times. It's broken up marriages. It's broken up families, right? I will teach you, right, how to command budgeting, right? How to leverage it to live the life of your dreams, how to leverage it to edify your people, and how to stop running a hobby. If you don't got no daggone bills, bro, you got a hobby. Okay? Why not you? Why can't you be cold? Why can't your business have the equipment it needs? Why can't your business have the software it needs? Why can't you be cold? You'll learn how to assess what you need, big fountain energy, and how to cover it all with ease. I promise you that. I promise you that. Okay. So you get business budgeting and strategic analysis for today's Black woman startup. What I mean by today's, Big Mama didn't tell us, right, when she was hurting. Big Mama didn't tell us when she was tired. Today's Black woman, because we leaning into the soft life. Okay. I will teach you, I promise, how to do this thing with ease. Okay. Financial forecasting. So projecting your cash flows into the future, because banks need to understand that you understand what's going on, right? Investors need to understand that you understand what's going on. Casey, what time is the Blaze Business Intensive? 9 a.m. Los Angeles time too. Can't find it. Do you see the offer on your screen, Mama? It's self-paced. And let's talk about that though. Let's talk about that. Good question. Strategy and automation. I'll get that in 2 slides. So strategy and automation. You'll automate your business. I run on average 3,000 automations per month for my business. I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm not capping. I promise I can show you the proof. I run on average 3,000 tasks on autopilot, right? And then networking, right? I teach you for real, right? How to network for net worth. People say it all the time, but I'm gonna tell you, 1 + 1 is not 2. It has never been. 1 + 1 is 11, always, every single time, without fail, right? And I'll teach you how to grow that village. So you get a jumpstart session with me, right? It is a course like Alana, who said it? Aaliyah said, right? So you can take that course, but you still will meet me every single Wednesday for life. You get Wind Down Wednesday office hours for life. Anytime you want to come in, I promise, for life. Like, it's me. I'm like, what's up? What questions do you have? You got homework for every module. You'll be in a private community, and we have private networking events. All right, so for 2 hours, you get special pricing, okay? 2 hours, you get special pricing. Listen, yeah. Trust me, okay? If you need this, get it, okay? For 2 hours, you get special pricing, so hit this offer and take advantage of it, okay? And then keep up with Blaze on all the things. Now, I have to bounce. I'm about to do a little something with a member of the tribe. Shout out to Drika. But I'll answer the last question on my way out of the door. Aaliyah says, where does writing a book fall onto the spectrum? Where does writing a book fall onto the spectrum? That's revenue. It's this income statement, right? It is your revenue line. It's your cost of goods sold. If you do Amazon self-publishing, if they're taking $9 and your book sells for $14, $9 your cost of goods sold. It's exactly the same. Great question. All right, y'all. I love you and I mean it. Thank you for rocking with me. It is an honor. It is an honor to share space with you. I adore you so much. And take care. Bye.